Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a little get ready with me. I think we need to kind of reconnect a little bit. I feel like I'm not really good at sharing, so you don't really know a ton that's going on in my life and what's going on in my head. I'm not really good at that kind of thing, so I just wanted to sit down and chat with you, let you know what's happening and why I took a little bit of a break. I am going to be doing a full face of makeup while I talk to you just so that I can be a little bit more calm, but I'm not going to necessarily be talking about the specific products, so please be sure to check them out down in the description box. And yeah, I'm just gonna get started. Let's get into it. So I did take a little bit of a break. I took a 2-week break, which isn't that long, but it was pretty substantial for me considering that over the summer I was really good about uploading like 2 to 3 times a week. That was kind of my goal. I really wanted to amp up my uploads and I was feeling really good about my channel, but it has been really difficult to keep up that momentum recently, unfortunately. And that's because I am a student. I actually am studying web design and web development. Basically, that's what my program is. So unfortunately, with everything going on with the pandemic at the moment, I have moved all of my classes to online. It's been like, not by choice, but that's how the school has chosen to move my program. Obviously, it makes sense. I work on a computer, right? So it's pretty easy to transition, but it is easy in terms of the technology, but it's not easy for me personally. I had a really hard time with that transition for school. I was working full-time from home all summer and I didn't find it to be challenging because I kind of knew what I was doing and I was confident in the things that I was working on, the projects I was working on. I've been working in web design from home for a small marketing and web development firm, and it wasn't a problem for me to do that because I was confident with, what I was working on. Sorry, I feel like this is very overexposed now. Hopefully I'm not overexposed now, but yeah, I was feeling really good about doing work from home and everything about that, but going into school from home is really difficult because I'm learning subjects that I'm not familiar with. My program is really, really heavy on the actual web development and the coding aspect of web, and that's not what I was doing throughout my work from home. That's not really what I'm confident in, and that's why I went back to school, because I really wanted to be more familiar with the back end of web design and just generally with technology as a whole. I really wanted to get familiar with that. It's not necessarily what I want to do with my life. I still really do prefer more of the visual aspect. So just given that all of that is happening, I've been really, really having a hard time keeping motivated for school because I'm feeling like I'm not capable of it. And then I've also been really struggling with just feeling like school makes sense for me right now because I was like working and it felt totally fine. It felt right. And school feels like a big challenge right now, and it feels really hard, and it's really, really difficult for me. The subject matter and just the delivery of it. I've been really having a hard time, and I mean, obviously a challenge is a good thing. I don't want to just drop out. I'm almost done school. That's not what's going on in my head at all. I've just been really, really, finding it hard to balance school, and I am still working for the same company that I was working for over the summer. Obviously, I've minimized the amount of hours that I am allocating to work, but I'm still working from home too. So my entire life for my career and my school is on my computer. And when I'm doing work, I feel guilty I'm not doing schoolwork. And when I'm doing schoolwork, I feel kind of guilty that I'm not doing work. And that is definitely silly, but it did make editing videos really, really hard for me and quite a challenge. And I just was feeling like when I was editing videos that I should be doing something else. I should be doing one of my other responsibilities. And so I had to decide that for a couple weeks of time I had to take a little bit of a break from videos, because if I was filming, then I would feel bad that I wasn't editing the videos, and if I was editing videos, I would feel bad that I wasn't being productive. And I mean, making YouTube videos is productive for me because it is a bit more of a creative outlet for me. I love talking about makeup. I love feeling that connection as well with people. So there's a community and a creative aspect to it that I don't necessarily get with school or with work. And even though it is something that gives me so much joy and makes me feel so happy, and it kind of is like a momentary escape from everything else that's going on, I just was feeling super overwhelmed, and I just had this tremendous amount of guilt, and something had to give in order for me to reconnect and refocus and figure out how to do school, or at least to feel more capable of balancing everything. I needed to let one thing go in order to figure out like how much time I really do have in a day and how much obligations I do have in a day and in a week. And I needed that. And if you follow me on Instagram, you may know that I did actually like lose my Nana as well. And my paternal grandmother, she passed away only just before I did decide to take a break. And I think with losing her, it did definitely make me think like I don't want to stress myself over these kinds of things. It's not worth it in the end to really stress yourself and overwhelm yourself and feel like you're just go all the time. Like downtime is important, and feeling a sense of relief is important as well. And I hadn't really allowed myself that for the first 2 months of doing school from home. A thing that I often do, I tend to get myself kind of overwhelmed about things, and I will allow myself to be stuck in feelings that are not good feelings. So I needed that bit of a reminder, you know? So the break was absolutely necessary. I didn't do anything with my time. What I did was I just worked and did school and allowed myself to have some time where I would go for walks, or, you know, make a bit more of like intricate dinners than perhaps I would if I was feeling high strung and like I absolutely need to be at my computer basically 24/7. So it was good. It was just nice to not feel 1,000 obligations at once and not feel the weight of it all at the same time too. And it's something that I completely do to myself, so I do need to work on that. I need to allow myself to take breaks, and that is something that I'm going to definitely be prioritizing, at least while I'm finishing up school. Like I'm done next April, and then I will have more time to allow myself to film and get back into this groove. But for the time being, I'm not going to be like, okay, I have this and this and this video to film, I have this and this and this to edit. I'm just going to take it as it comes, and I probably am going to be uploading less for the upcoming 6 months, but I need to do that in order to keep my sanity. So finding some downtime and some separation from my computer and just from my responsibilities is going to be absolutely essential in order to get me through the rest of my school. And I don't know what my YouTube channel life looks like, but don't worry, I'm not going away entirely. It'll just kind of be probably more like it was this time last year, where I uploaded maybe once a week. And I didn't really love that because I felt like my videos were very routine. I was like, okay, I'm updating this project pan at this time. I'm gonna do my empties this day, and it felt very regimented, and it didn't really feel as creative as I'd like it to be. So, you know, some videos might just get bypassed so that I can do something else in its place. We'll see what ends up happening. And in addition to everything that is going on for that, I also have kind of in the back of my mind that Patrick and I want to buy a house together. We want to buy a house. We want to move out of our apartment eventually. Maybe once I've graduated, we'd like to buy a home. So we have been kind of looking and just feeling out the market, and that's been something that's been also on my brain in addition to all my other responsibilities. So thinking about budgeting and saving and figuring out all of the logistics of the idea of buying a house and figuring out where we can even afford to live. There's so many variables. So there's just so much that is kind of at the forefront of my brain at the moment. And that being said, with the thought of buying a house, I am going to be likely going on to a bit of a beauty no-buy. I wouldn't say this year I purchased excessively. In fact, I didn't buy anything until about end of April or early May when I finished my last school semester. So I don't think it's impossible for me to go on a no-buy. And I do think it's something that is essential just to keep my brain space away from having to think about new releases and think about makeup products that are outside of my collection. And there is this feeling, again, I have a major issue with guilt, but this feeling of guilt that I'm never going to get through the products that I own. And so I think I'm going to take like the next 6 months off of buying any sort of makeup products. I might buy one thing because the VIB sale is actually on right now. I might buy one thing, but there's nothing that I really want to buy. So I might not buy anything. And I feel like because I'm kind of going to put myself in this realm of doing a no buy, I almost am like, okay, now I want to make a series out of it. I want to share it with you. And I don't think that's something I can do. I don't think that's something I can like promise right now. But yeah, I'm going to be going on a no buy because I really want to buy a home. I'd love to own something with Patrick, and our apartment has served us well. We've been here for over 5 years, but I think we're ready. We're ready to take on a bit more of a project. Not at this moment. I can't take on any more projects, but in like 6 months or so, we should be capable. We'll see. We might not buy anything for a year. We may wait, but it's something that's at the forefront of my mind. And obviously I'm working less right now. I need to really budget and figure out where I want to allocate my money. And I don't think I want to move with more makeup when we do decide to move. I don't think I want to move with more beauty products. Like, I want to minimize the amount of skincare and makeup that I own. And I think the thought of moving with it all is really impactful in order to make that kind of change and give me another push to stop spending my money on beauty. And with that being said, I have been really kind of having a bit of a, I don't want to say like an identity crisis, but when over the summer there was this blog post that came out from My Beauty Bunny, and she had posted all about how animal testing could be happening basically anywhere in the world, not just in China. And I didn't see information come out from anyone else, but that article really threw off my feelings about cruelty-free beauty, and it made me kind of think about what is cruelty-free to me and why is cruelty-free beauty important to me. And for me, the label of cruelty-free, I think, is kind of so generic and so open-ended, even though cruelty-free really just means not test on animals. There are so many other ethical things to consider when it comes to makeup consumption. And I think that also has really pushed me to the idea of wanting to do a dedicated no-buy, because part of consuming makeup is the waste of it all. And I already have so much garbage. Like, I have so much garbage sitting in my makeup drawers at the moment. You know what I mean? The packaging, the product, it all will eventually either go down the drain or go into a landfill. I don't want to add to that even more. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot of garbage sitting in my drawers. Like, eventually it's garbage. Obviously right now I don't feel like it's garbage, but in the long run it will be garbage. So when I do end up purchasing products, I want to be more considerate about the packaging. I want to be more considerate about the ingredients. And I think taking like 6 months to just step away from the industry and stop thinking about accumulating more and more will give me some time to maybe use the time that I would think about, oh, let's go on the Sephora app and see what's new. Maybe I can research brands or packaging types that are fully recyclable, or I can look into brand ethics. And I think I would rather spend my time doing that and opening up my eyes to that than acquiring more, because I've been wanting to be more ethical with my beauty purchases for quite some time, but I get kind of stuck in this rut where I'm like, well, I love this brand, I'm so excited about this release, and I never really have been better about my makeup purchases because I'm just kind of trying to keep up with what's new and what's exciting. And I think if I can separate myself for a short while, then I can really get a good headspace about it. So yeah, there's kind of like this catch-22 where for the next few months, my channel is going to be very regimented, and maybe it'll be so Project Pan focused, and that's something that I don't necessarily want my entire channel to be. I want to talk about beauty in a grander scale, but I think maybe it needs to be focused on project panning for the time being in order to get to the point where I can bring more into my life that's more considerate and maybe low waste. And obviously I still want to continue to be cruelty free, but that article really made me consider what is cruelty free to me. And the label of cruelty free really just means not tested on animals, but there's so much more to ethical beauty that I'd like to participate in more and not just be so focused on one ethical value, one small aspect of what makes beauty consumption and just consumption in general, capitalism in general, what makes it ethical. So I need to be more considerate in what I bring into my life, and I've been trying to do that, but I think makeup is going to be the hardest struggle for that, because like clothing, I do feel like I'm not really one to over purchase clothes, and when I do purchase clothes, I've been really trying to either thrift or buy from brands that are much more sustainable. But makeup, there's just so many brand options out there, and the things that are the most accessible are the things that are the most wasteful and from the brands that my values don't align with. So I need to take a step back from being a consumer for a while of beauty and many things for sure. Like I'm kind of thinking, this is a little bit like off the top of my head, but I've been kind of thinking that what I would do is do a full-on no buy for the next 6 months, and then when I've finished up my program and therefore I will be graduating from my program, I will allow myself maybe for a month to do some makeup purchasing, but I'll set a budget, like a dollar value budget. So let's say $100, and I want to, if I want to buy one palette for that $100, that's fine. That's my gift to myself, I suppose. But I could also buy a handful of other products depending on what I set that budget as. I haven't determined what that would be. I need something that's concrete though, I think. And then I would also go on a no-buy beyond that until maybe the end of the summer, and then I could reevaluate, like, what have I run out of in my collection? Where do I need to maybe fill some gaps? And I'd set a budget for that time as well. Or maybe set a budget for what the entire year looks like, even though I would only allow myself specific times of the year to purchase. I need to kind of come up with a bit of a game plan, but I think I'm going to wait until about December when I'm on my break between semesters to really do that. Dang, I've never used this as an actual brow pen, or maybe 1 or 2 times, but not in a long time. I really like the way this looks. The thought of talking about money and talking about my budget and things like that is a little bit daunting, because like $100, as an example, is kind of a lot of money to me. But $100 might mean absolutely nothing to some people, or that might be just a drop in the bucket for what they would consider to be like a beauty budget. So it is a little bit stressful, but I do think it's something I want to bring onto here because it will just, again, hold me a little bit more accountable and make it so that this is a bit more normalized for me as well. Because why is buying new products every single month, buying things when you don't need something new, why is that normalized? Like, why do I own like 4 or 5 blushes that are virtually the same? Why is that normal? Why is that accepted? I'm not criticizing anyone because I am that way and I have been for a long time, and I don't know that I'll ever completely change from that. I'm not criticizing anyone for their own choices whatsoever about what they consume in any way, shape, or form. But it's just something I've been kind of thinking about. I've been thinking about that quite a lot. I've been thinking about what it means to own things and why I spend my money on things that are similar to other things I already own. Like I wouldn't buy another pot and pan set for my kitchen, but for some reason I'll buy an entire whole new full face of makeup, even though I have every single product type already. So I've just been thinking about these sorts of things and really wanting to be more critical and analytical and introspective when I do consume. And as much as I didn't want to take a break because I have been really wanting to get my channel up to 10,000 subscribers, like in the end, the number of subscribers I have is not really important. Like, the community that I have and the people that are here right now are so valuable and so important to me and so amazing. Like, you don't even know how supported and how connected I feel in a world where I barely leave my apartment. So it's pretty special and it's very remarkable, and I do really appreciate every single one of you that's here. So the goal of 10,000 subs is really just an arbitrary thing that doesn't add any sort of value to me. And I kind of had to come to terms with that before I decided to take a break too, because that was something I had kind of put in my head almost 6 months ago, that I was like, I want to hit 10,000 by my birthday, but it's not relevant. It's not important. And I was working really hard, really diligently to produce content that the people that are here now want to see, more than I was creating content to bring more people here anyways. So it's funny. That number was in my head and that was something I had decided on, but I wasn't really actively working towards it anyways. I mean, it was in the back of my mind at all times, but now I don't really care. It's taking 2 weeks away. I realized I don't need that. I mean, it will come eventually, maybe, but I don't need it. I don't need it to be happy or to feel validated or to feel like my channel is doing okay. But while I have you here, I do want to let you know I am working on my makeup inventory. It is taking me quite some time to just count through everything and photograph everything. So that is coming, and that I'm really excited to share with you, because I know I should have updated it back in May, but I didn't want to. I didn't feel inclined to, but I'm really excited to share it with you now. I know so many people are curious about my numbers, and I kind of I took a little sneak peek into my empties bag as well. It's not near as good as last year, which is okay, but I'm really excited for that video too. That will be towards the end of this year, but those are 2 big videos that I know you guys love to see, and they will be coming. But I just want to also connect with you and see how you're doing and how you've been dealing with everything that's happening. I kind of didn't want to talk about the pandemic when it first happened or first started, because I did not really understand how it made me feel, and I still don't know how it's making me feel. I'm just doing my part as best as I can and trying to be, a responsible human being and considerate human being in all aspects of my life. And so I'm trying my absolute best to distance and go to the stores less and stuff like that. But it is hard. It's really hard. You go out in the world and I want to separate from my computer for a minute, and I realize, oh yeah, there's all this other exterior stuff going on outside of my head and outside of my computer. And yeah, I want to see how you're doing and feeling about all this too. So if you're struggling in any way with everything that's going on or with other things in your life, don't hesitate to message me. Why am I trying to do lip liner while I say this? If you at all need a set of non-judgmental eyes and ears, I can be there for you. So feel free to reach out and just chat with me if there's anything that's going on, and if you're feeling overwhelmed and you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, feel free, because that is what this community is all about. It's not just about talking about makeup products and things. It's about being together. So yeah, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I do want to let you know that I'm here to hear you out, and because I know that you're here for me, and I of course want to reciprocate that. And like I say in every single video, I hope you're all doing really well. Like, I actually genuinely do hope that you're doing well. And so if you're not and you need somebody to hear you out, I'm here. I'm always here. Send me a message on Instagram or an email, and let's just chat and let's get through this, everything that's going on this year. Let's get through it together. I'm sure this will be the case for a lot of 2021 as well, and I know that the end of the year seems promising, and it's a good time to maybe decide on some new habits and new outlooks, but things are not changing. Like, in terms of us being in a pandemic, that's not just going to change because the calendar changes. Okay, before I go, I do want to put a tiny bit of green into this eye look. Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos just in general, but especially ones like these where I really want to share with you things, because like I said in the intro, I'm not really good at sharing. I'm not a very open person, especially when it's in this sort of format where I don't have any prompts to tell me what to talk about. But it is really nice to just sit down and reflect on my thoughts and share them with you, and hopefully some of you can understand what I'm going through, and maybe you're going through something like this and needed to hear someone else kind of talk through it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I had a lot of fun playing with my Metropolis palette as well, so thank you. I really do appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate your support and your time so much more than you could ever know. And yeah, that's everything for today's video. Bye everyone.